everyone, it's me, Sean Capri. I'm glad you're here because you're listening to the most horse-powerful podcast on the dang internet. It's the Xbox Drive. I'm on a Skype call with my friend Ryan Turford. He's a meteorologist on the Moose, and boy, howdy, do we have a cold snap to talk about today. And we also played that Prince of Persia game, so jump on into the Xbox Drive. Oh.
No power greater than X.
Boy, howdy. Well,
howdy. Let's talk about the weather. Yeehaw. Can I tell you something, Ryan? You can hear it in my voice. I didn't know what came after boy. I was hanging on that for a second. I'm like, what am I supposed to say after boy? Oh, yeah. Howdy, boy, howdy. I got there.
Good
Oh,
golly.
my goodness.
You can definitely tell it is Xbox Drive After Dark, ladies and gentlemen. That's what's happening this evening. Xbox Drive After Dark.
It's
for sure.
so late.
We usually record the show at night, but like it's extra late for us, which is
fault.
like, so expected the craziness to come out tonight, the chaos to ensue.
This one's on me. You ever get that feeling, Ryan? Like maybe you just bite off more than you can chew every once in a while. And like today was just one of those days. You know, we streamed Prince of Persia this morning. Then I went to work and we had a work party. And now we've got this. And I'm like, I can do all that. Like it would have been way easier to just go like, hey, man, maybe we just record on Saturday. Or like, hey, maybe Kevin Ainsworth comes in for a spell or something like that. But like, no, I don't want to. It was just like that Aerosmith song. I didn't want to miss a thing, Ryan.
Of course.
So I'll just be late for some of the things.
Look, you know what? The main thing is, I mean, a lot of our listeners are on the audio side, Sean, and they usually listen the next day anyways. So
that's true. So they're like, what are you even talking about?
In fact, this won't go up any later than it normally does for them. So they're just like, I didn't even notice you guys were late unless we said anything.
Well, we're just... audio listeners also have no idea that I just took a sip of this coffee. Ryan, do you know when this coffee was made?
Yesterday, this morning.
This is this morning's coffee. Not too terrible, but clearly, good news is it's so cold, Ryan. It's preserving. Everything is preserved.
I mean, first of all, Sean, this is the glass shattering moment from the hit show How I Met Your Mother, where everyone's discovering what's actually happening with Sean's coffee, with how late we record now, and things will just never be the same for the audio listeners now. But number two, first of all, thank you for bringing up the weather, Sean, because the weather is crazy. The weather is crazy where you live, where you've got like some crazy Arctic storm and it's like minus 45 outside.
Yeah, it is. That's real. That sounds like a made up number. It sounds like you're exaggerating. That's a very real number. The Celsius and Fahrenheit scales have merged. That's how cold it is, where the both scales are just like, whatever. It doesn't even matter. You know?
Exactly. And it's not super cold here. It's +2. But today has literally been a blizzard, but also torrential rain at the same time. And it's the worst. The literal
movie
worst.
2012, you know, with the Mayan calendar ends. That's what's happening to us.
Well, I've also had to like watch my head when walking home from work tonight, because one thing about skyscrapers, if you live in the city and it's snowing and the snow is melting, you have to watch for ice just falling from the top of the skyscrapers. Hopefully they don't murder you on the way home, because that's definitely a thing too. So yeah, we actually Donnie brings up a good point. In Toronto tonight, we had a thunderstorm and snow at the same time.
No, you didn't. That really is the end of the world. Is that real?
Yeah. Like
okay,
I was
out. I
was out walking on my lunch break and like it was snowing and it was like crazy, like blizzard snow. But then I also see freaking lightning. Like on the left side. It's ridiculous. There's like videos up on
laser beams attached to their heads.
Yeah. Oh my God. The weather's been interesting, Sean.
Wow.
The weather's been interesting.
Well, we're here. We're doing the dang thing. I made it home. Yarded in the chat asked, why do you live there? It's a great question. The thing about, I don't know about you, Ryan, right now it's so cold that I'm kind of like cheering on for it to be colder. Like just go, why stop at 45? Why not go minus 50? Why not minus 55? Just keep going. So there's a weird cheering on that's going like, let's set the record. Let's make it so that if we were to go to the moon, it would be to like get warmer, you know? Exactly. Let's go to space so that we could warm up, for God's sakes.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, you know, most humans really can't feel any different above minus 40 to minus 60 in that range anyway. So like you probably wouldn't even notice the difference at that point. Plus you got the dry cold where you live. Like you don't have the humid cold, because if it was like minus 45 here, it would be like way worse because of the humidity, just making it feel just that much.
That's what this turns it into. It turns it into like the cold Olympics. Like we don't need to make a competition out of this.
The Cold Olympics, Sean. That's what we're calling them.
We could workshop that maybe a little bit.
Jesus. Anyways, we should probably clean the garage a little bit, get the show on the roll. Look, I'm glad we started the first 5 minutes of the show, Sean, talking about weather, because that's my favorite thing in the world.
I know.
But we should probably do the dang thing. So
my point about that, by the way, is that like you can talk about the weather when it's remarkable like this. Like this is something else. It's not just like, just letting you know what the sky looks like today.
Look, Sean, I feel like we can talk about the weather so often on our podcast that we could actually have an entire podcast dedicated to weather.
I'm sure you can. I think this winter storm, Ryan, is like killing off diseases and viruses. Like this might be a cleansing effort. This is some sort of, it's sort of like Noah's Ark, but we got buildings to heat up inside. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, if it doesn't kill off the viruses, it at least keeps people at home so that they don't go outside to spread the viruses to other people anyway.
Good call.
If they do survive.
Good call. All right.
Although I'm not looking forward to Monday having to go into the office when it's supposed to be -30 out. So get ready for that. That's gonna be exciting. But,
it's kind of like that game. We'll loop it back to you. Ever play The Long Dark, Ryan?
I have played The Long Dark. I remember y'all also playing that on the old
for
Exploit.
about 14 minutes.
Yeah.
I think I'm like, what is this? You got to stay warm. I got that outside, man. No
Look,
way.
Jace really wanted you to play it. I remember.
Oh, that's not the game I was thinking of. No, that game was fun. Is that really what that game was called? The one that we were playing with Jace? I'm thinking of the one where you got it like the.
Oh
the,
yeah,
the
you're right.
tree
The Long Dark is a different cold survival game where it's like a first person game.
Yes, that's what I was thinking of. Yeah,
you're right. I got confused.
I don't want that. The one that you're talking about, I try to figure out what that one is called, and people can correct us in the chat. Wasn't it like top down? It was super fun. It was in like early access in Game Pass. That one was great. Whatever that game was called.
Who knows? There's no way of finding out.
Definitely not.
If Jace was here, I'm sure he'd tell us.
Yeah.
But that's also my test to see if Jace is in the chat, by the way. But
we have not manifest Jace.
This is the Xbox driver. We talk about Xbox all the time, except for right now. So folks at home, if you want to support the show, there's a number of awesome ways to do that. Number one, if you're watching the live stream, right meow over at youtube.com/carpoolgaming, or if you're watching the video on demand later, don't forget to tap that like button, kick that subscribe button, and let us know in the comments below what you think is going to be announced at the Xbox showcase, but also what you think about Prince of Persia. If you've played that dang demo, we want to hear from you. Let us know in the comments below. We would love to hear from you.
Or you can just type no in the comments. This seems to be a thing on Carpool shows this week. You can just type no in the comments for whatever reason it's catching.
I mean, it didn't happen on RPG Cave, Sean, so clearly we weren't pushing enough buttons there.
Well, it's a Lachlan thing, maybe.
Clearly. But also, folks, if you're all listening on audio feeds, you have an important job as well. Of course, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please rate the show if you haven't already, and maybe hit that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed already. Because what are you doing? You want us in your daily feed.
Who listens to one show
every week? Yeah.
Who listens to one show? Who's not hitting subscribe? I didn't even know that's possible. That seems like a thing that you shouldn't have to say, but you absolutely do. The numbers say so. Yeah. But I want to know. We're friendly. We're not judgmental. Jump into the Discord and throw your hands up and said, it's me. I didn't hit subscribe. I want to talk to you. I want to figure out what's going on there.
I mean, I mostly bring that up, Sean, because I used to be that person.
Ryan Turford, what do you do?
Before I started doing podcasts myself, like back when I listened to a lot of IGN podcasts, for the longest time, I was never subscribed to GameScoop, but I would listen to GameScoop every single week. So I would go in the IGN, in the iTunes player and just press the play button on the podcast, but not download or subscribe to it. So I would listen to the show, but never subscribe to it. So I was that person at one point.
Still don't understand it. That didn't help me at all. Actually,
no. Now I understand what it's like to not be that person. Like, don't be that person.
Don't be that person. Yeah, be like Ryan.
Yeah,
turn the corner.
Exactly. Be like Ryan. Turn the corner and get yourself an Xbox toaster, because that's what life is all about.
You did not.
I mean, it's going to come up again later in the show, Sean, because we have a question about it again.
Okay.
But next up, of course, we have a patreon.com/carpoolgaming, where, of course, we have one giant podcast feed with the entire Carpool Gaming cinematic universe on it, as well as some exclusive content as well. So head on over there if you would like to join, just like Will and also Fiona McKinnon, who joined the free trial. We also had Mosif, Ian Keg, and the Don Rob and the Goobla King all joined the exclusive tier. We had BobLoblaw join the gold tier, and we had Jonas Young and the list master himself, Robby Bobby Miller, join that platinum tier. Oh my God, Sean's doing the Vince McMahon thing because Patreon's been popping off, Sean. Let me tell you what. This is the first time we've gotten to talk about this because developments since Tuesday on Patreon have been crazy.
It's been overwhelming and very nice. I know that we announced that some pretty big changes coming to the PlayStation Drive, and so you're never really sure how the community is going to respond to that. So to know that people are sticking with us and still listening to the shows and excited for the future, that's very cool. But that kind of lends me into, well, number one, first and foremost, welcome back so many people to the Patreon. Thank you guys. And for everybody who's still with us, thank you. That's just bonkers to me. We're knocking on the doorstep of 100 members over on Patreon, which is crazy. The Discord is as active as ever. The community is incredible. It's really, really special. Earlier this week, we got to celebrate the late great Bobby Paul's his birthday, and just so many people either you knew Bobby and you remember him, which is great, and then other people who just recognize the love that we have for him. That just shows what kind of community is happening at Carpool. Like, again, like if you knew him, then you remember him, and if not, then there's so much respect that is shown for somebody that they never knew, and I just think that's incredible. So wonderful stuff. Thank you guys so much. It's damn near overwhelming. Got to keep my thoughts straight on this. But we are coming to a close on our time with Court and Matt over on the PlayStation Drive. So while we're here to talk about Xbox today, we're excited to wish Court a friendly farewell on Monday of next week. And then Matt will take the show for the rest of January with some special guests that I think that we're teasing for no real good reason. But we do that sort of thing. We haven't announced them.
I'm leaving that to Matt because Matt said they were special guests. So
yes,
I will leave that to Matt to announce further down the road. Indeed. Also, reminder, we did put out a tweet a little bit earlier as well. The future of Carpool Gaming as well, February 5th. Be excited for that. But we will talk about that later. And last but not least, our website, carpoolgaming.com, where you can get yourself an Xbox Drive t-shirt or any other Carpool Gaming pieces of merch over there on our website, or all our podcasts can be found there as well. Without further ado.
No, sorry. I'm so sorry. I know I'm talking a lot here. I just wanted to jump in to say Patreon. I know a lot of people are jumping in there. Very cool. But you're getting a ton of exclusive content, Ryan. We got the Pants Patreon podcast. I was on that show this week. Miles of Amanda and I talked about our New Year's resolutions and just goal setting in general, which is getting a great response as well. So the content is back. We're here, 2024. You and I were the first ones to kick things off, and we're kicking it off with a bang, man. We have to find a day to put that episode with me and Amanda, because we just have too many things coming out all the time. So people are getting their value. They're stealing the shirts off of our backs, Ryan, with that $3 exclusive tier. Dang it.
Jam packed with content.
And it's cold outside. Damn it.
Yeah, exactly. We still got, other monthly things. We still got BTS to come at some point and some other stuff too. So
Sweet Hanks.
More stuff. More stuff.
Things.
And they are things.
Dude. I should probably put things in the notes so I'm not surprising you all the time, but sometimes it's fun to do. There is things happening on the Fantasy Critic in the Discord very, very soon. If it didn't happen already, we will have dates for everybody to sign up for Fantasy Critic. It looks like we've got 30 people committed. So our biggest year ever for Fantasy Critic. Details if you like in the Discord, please. There's the Fantasy Critic channel. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go in there. We'll let you know all about it. It's a really fun way for you to engage with other members of the community. It's a fun way to watch game releases throughout the rest of the year. It's super fun. You should totally do it. Even if you have no idea what I'm talking about, go in there. It's the best thing you could do today. That's it, Ryan.
It's super fun. We played it last year. And in fact, Sean, I am ready to defend my crown because I am the returning champion this year. So we'll see.
Well,
come at me. If you
all right. Take Ryan Turford down. We need people to sign up so that we can take Ryan Turford down. Everybody at Ryan Turford.
God, there's gonna be teams this year that are just named Destroy Ryan Turford, like there were last year with Destroy Sean
with
Capri.
Me. Yeah, Garrett Bland was destroyed. I don't know what I did to Garrett Bland.
Something. I don't know what you did.
Whatever.
But I do know, Sean, we're gonna grab our 8-tracks, pop them in.
Oh, let's do it.
Because we're segueing into the playlist. Let's go. I mean, Sean, did you really play anything else this week besides the one game? I think we both only played the one game this week.
The Prince of Persia game, yes. The MS-DOS game on my IBM PC. Yeah. I played 2D side-scrolling Prince of Persia with beautiful animation and swords.
Swords.
I think this game, actually, for real, The Lost Crown, only slightly less difficult than the the
Yeah.
first Prince of Persia.
I mean, actually, I don't even think the first Prince of Persia is the hardest one. Have you ever played Prince of Persia 2 on the PC?
Probably. It's
I think
been
that one is even
decades at this
harder than the
point.
first one.
Yeah,
That
you're
one is
probably
like,
right.
I can beat the first Prince of Persia. I can't beat that one. Like, I
Wow.
can't beat Prince of Persia 2. That game is super hard.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that we start there because this is a game series that for many people, they realize that it's been around for a long time, but I don't know if everybody knows quite how, like it's been around forever. This series, this franchise is as old as time itself, Ryan.
Well, funnily enough, Sean, I saw people on Twitter or X today complaining about the fact that, like, oh, I can't believe they decided to go to 2D for Prince of Persia. And then I just see in the tweet, just people replying en masse to these people saying, you do know that Prince of Persia started as a 2D franchise,
Hell yeah.
right?
Yep.
Because like most people don't know that because those, games are so old at that point that I think a lot of younger gamers just know Prince of Persia as being a 3D game only. Like they don't remember those games.
Yeah.
They're not old dorks like us, Sean.
But for real, and like, we can lay claim to having played the original Prince of Persia games. I didn't love those games. I think those original ones are like I said, they're obtuse. You had to really deal with some strange animations. It was very fluid, but you kind of had to time your jumps really strange. But the 3D ones were great. Sands of Time is one of the best games ever made. It's awesome. And so to leap into this Metroidvania, I feel like I actually had to think about it really hard to go, why didn't this happen before? Because you jump in and it just makes sense. It seems so right to play this game and to have this format. I don't know. There wasn't a single moment playing this, and I'm about halfway through. I want to talk about my progress in the game in a little bit.
Of course.
But I think I messaged you and Seth, who also received copies from Ubisoft Canada. And I was like, this game's great. Like this game feels so good right off the bat. I'm having a blast. Like I said, I'm halfway through. Seth did the formal review on Carpool and he did an excellent job. People should check it out. Yeah. But overall, my thoughts are very, very positive on this game, Ryan.
Yeah. I mean, I like it as well. I'm not as far as y'all because real life kind of happened this week where I spent basically 3 days in bed where I couldn't move. So that was fun this week. Didn't get to play a lot of games this week. So I'm only a couple hours in to Prince of Persia, but I'm liking what I'm playing so far. I will admittedly say though that, and this is something that is not new or not even specific to this game, melee based Metroidvania games have never really clicked with me. This is just something that is very much something that is a me thing. I refer to, of course, other games like Hollow Knight, the Castlevania Metroidvania games, like Metroidvania games that rely on even Ori. I liked, if you remember our review of Ori, like I liked Ori a lot, and it was kind of like an outlier for me for melee Metroidvanias because normally I'm not super into them. In the same way, I'm not into MOBAs or other game genres. So for this one as well, like I'm liking it a lot more than most other melee Metroidvanias I'm playing. So while I'm not absolutely over the moon with this game, I am enjoying it a lot more than I thought I was going into it, which is good because I think that's really impressed me with this game. But I'm also not feeling like the urge to immediately go play it as soon as this podcast is over.
Oh,
like,
I am.
Not in that space.
I'm mad that we're podcasting right now.
Yeah. I mean, do you want to just quit right now? We can just play Prince of Persia, Sean.
I mean, if you want to take the rest of it, I could just like maybe put it in the corner. We could just have it kind of going right there. I'm sure that would work out really fine. The demo is out there. Fully is pointing it out in the chat here. People are enjoying the demo. The reviews are now out. It's scoring very, very well. Before I dive into details on that note, Ryan, of like, like you are like a connoisseur of the Metroids and of the Vanias, Ryan. Right. You love these games. You love the originals that have created this new genre. Like, what do you look for in a Castlevania? I'd love to like kind of pick your brain at this.
So first off, with Castlevania specifically, I actually prefer the older Castlevania games, like the non-Metroidvania Castlevania games. So the original Castlevania or Castlevania 3, or actually Simon's Quest is my favorite Castlevania game of all time. On the NES, but also, Super Castlevania, like that style of Castlevania where you're using your whip and it's very like slow paced and it's very platforming and it's not about exploration. Like those are the Castlevania games I'm really into, and the ones that I wasn't really into very much are the Symphony of the Nights or the Game Boy Advance Castlevania games. Like I just don't really have like an attachment to those games because I'm just not as into them as the other ones. And Metroid, I love the Metroid games and I like ranged weapon focused Metroidvanias. Like that's, and because I feel like they feel very different from melee focused Metroidvanias, if that makes sense. Like a game like Axiom Verge or a game like Metroid, like I feel like they feel very different from a game like Prince of Persia or Hollow Knight. Like they have different feels to them, and that's just a preference thing. It's a weird preference thing.
Interesting. HVAC Sparky in the chat says, what about Dead Cells? Is the combat there similar to Prince of Persia? I mean, it is melee, but I don't know that I would say that it feels that similar. And it may be more in the enemy design more than anything, actually.
Yeah. Well, also too, I think the Prince is just so much more fluid, or I shouldn't say the Prince, because you're not playing as the Prince in this game. But your movement is so much more fluid in this game versus something like Dead Cells, where I feel like you're a slower, clunkier character in Dead Cells in a lot of ways. Like you're not slow by any means, but you're not like dashing all over the place like you are in this game. Like it's not, because a big part of this game, which is one of the parts I actually really like, is the emphasis on the platforming. Like I actually like the platforming a lot in this game. That's like one of my favorite parts. Like the combat, believe it or not, is one of my least favorite aspects of this game.
I mean, I like there's a heavy emphasis on parry and blocking for sure. If you've got that nailed down, you can kind of like couple that with these amulets, these things you can kind of choose that will give you certain perks and buffs and things like that. And some of them really start to stack up on each other. So if you're able to lock down blocking at that perfect time, then you can get other special abilities or additional health and things like that. So like when you really, Seth did a wonderful job of reviewing it because there are systems kind of upon systems, upon ideas and layers here. And it's, just that you can actually extract a lot of appreciation for the design of this game. If you're into that sort of thing, if you're into like nerding out about game design, like there's so much to pick apart here. But then also, as you mentioned, Ryan, like you can kind of like ignore all of that. The story is interesting and the twists and turns, I think, service the gameplay, but then also start to really, again, kind of layer in on top of itself. Sands of Time maybe kind of gives you a little bit of a hint of what's in store for you. I'm not going to spoil anything, of course. But then, abilities is kind of another piece of Metroidvanias. When are you going to get the double jump? When are you going to be able to come back to this area and do the thing? And I've really enjoyed the exploration part of this, where Seth, as he's playing through, and I can't wait to talk to him on the Nintendo Drive about this as well. And as it turns out, it holds up very, very well on Switch. I'm wandering in this game very similarly that I was with Ori, where the game does a good job. If you choose the mode that directs you kind of in the right direction, it points things out in your map and you're like, go ahead over here to do the thing. You can totally mainline the game. But I've been really just kind of going, where's the dark part of the map, or where's the part I haven't explored? Let me just see if I can get there. And I've been having a blast and just dashing here and climbing up onto that thing and just kind of seeing where I can go has been a lot of what I've been pulling out of this game. But again, I could spend another 45 minutes talking about systems and abilities and all these other things about it.
And that's the thing, Sean. I actually agree with you on that fact, because that's one of the things I'm also really enjoying about this game too. Now, mind you, I'm playing on guided mode, and the reason I am is so that it leaves the map marker on the map so that I don't just put the game down and forget where I'm supposed to be going in the main quest line. Like if I, because you have to remember this week, I wasn't playing super long runs of this game. I was going between a couple days even without playing this game. So I didn't want to just forget where I was supposed to go. So I liked having that map marker there, but I would go off and do what you just talked about, where I'd like to go explore the map because as someone who's played a lot of Metroidvanias, I know that sequence breaking is definitely going to be a thing in this game, and I want to figure out how I can break the map.
What do you mean?
Like fast track things or find shortcuts to get through the game faster even.
Oh, okay. So like you're saying you get to a spot where it seems like it's obvious you need some sort of ability to get through it, but you're always able to find a way
you could sometimes find a way to break through it, because
I remember
that's a big thing about Metroid games. That's one of the things that I love about those. Like Metroid Dread was a big example where like you could shortcut to Kraid very quickly in that game, like within the first hour of the game, if you knew where to go without like 3 or 4 different items that you would need normally to progress there. If you knew like the proper way to do that. I feel like there's going to be stuff like that in this game. I haven't discovered anything yet, but
I'm doing the exact opposite. I'm like, how long could I possibly make this thing, man? Like,
it's why like I'm actually like super jacked to see speedrunners play this game, Sean, to see how people are going to just break this game wide open. Like, I can't wait to see that. Like, that gets me, my juices flowing, gets me very excited. So
one of my favorite parts about this, Ryan, is it's sort of eventually you kind of find it's not right out of the bat. Actually, it does a nice job of welcoming you in and kind of getting you in the basics of combat and platforming and traversal and that kind of thing, how the map works. Then you can kind of wander, and eventually you'll stumble upon a guy who will train you, and you can go through a whole bunch of different challenges on here's how to block and here's how to attack and combos and air attacks and all these different things. And you could honestly spend hours there.
Yep.
And it's worthwhile your time. You get these shards, which are currency for upgrades and other kinds of things like that. But like as I'm saying this, I should probably head back there because it's a good way to, like I said, farm that currency that you need and also learn things I will say, I was going to say maybe you don't know them. You definitely don't know the things that it's going to teach you there. So it's way of onboarding you or letting you do whatever you kind of want to, I think is kind of fascinating. And I haven't played a Metroidvania game in quite a while. It seemed like for a bit there, they were coming out every other week. It seemed like it was maybe some saturation that was happening. But at this point, kind of want to go, maybe Hollow Knight is my next one. Maybe I go back and finish Ori again or something. But it has me just really excited to talk about it because I do want to go back and play Ori. It does. It oddly enough, it feels nothing like Ori, but I still think about Ori quite a lot, actually. Like Ori is very acrobatic. And this is still very fluid, but in a different kind of way. But yeah, somehow it's still scratching that same itch for me.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually a really smart idea, Sean, especially because for folks that don't know who don't listen to the Nintendo Drive, Sean's got a whole list of rules about how he can't go buy new video games this year. We haven't even talked about that on this show at all.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow.
People might not even know that about you, Sean, that you made this whole pledge and everything. So
I know, but this is one of the loopholes, though. And again, shout out to Fulia, who is crafting together the rule set for my gaming this year.
She even put it on like a really nice notepad with like
good.
An old lady pushing a shopping cart with like a no sign.
Nope.
I love it. Yeah,
I know, dude. It's
no
so
shopping.
Good.
Oh my god.
Yep.
But so two things I want to mention about this game. One, first off, I love what you said about the training thing because I feel like that's something I would love to see more in other Metroidvanias from now on, like future games. Because I know Seth talks a lot about the feature I'm about to mention being like in a staple going forward, but I feel like this should be a staple going forward too, because a lot of people struggle with learning like the wall jump or certain moves in a game like Metroid Dread, as an example. So like something like that, I feel like would be really helpful to the player to have in the environment. So I hope that more developers look at that feature and then utilize it more in their Metroidvanias. And the other one, of course, is the memory shards that you can use, where at any point you only have a certain number of them available to you, but you can instantly press down on the D-pad and it'll take a picture of whatever your screen shot is, and it'll put it on your map so that if you find one area that you're like, oh, well, I'm going to definitely have to come back later with a different item in order to get through here, you can just take a picture of it so that you know it's there. So, and then you know to circle around there later instead of forgetting about it. So I think that feature is super awesome. And I know Seth said it in his review too, but I'm going to totally steal his answer by saying this should be in every Metroidvania going forward too.
Yeah.
100%.
And it's funny because on the surface, when you see it in action, even the way that you kind of like describe it, there's only really one way to describe it. It seems so simple. And that's actually why it's so impactful. Like it's not overly complicated and it doesn't need to be, but it's so elegant. It's so smart and quick. And the fact that it's limited as well, I think it's just that one extra level of consideration there. Like they could have made that just you do it wherever you want, but I don't think that would feel good. You don't have to manage it at all. And yeah, just who would have thought? You just need to see that little screen and you can know exactly what you're going to have to do to go back there. You can see some sort of like glowing rock or like maybe a double jump that you don't think that you're going to be able to get. I don't have a double jump at this point. I can only assume that I'm going to get one or some other extra ability
Just
to
the high jump boots, Sean.
maybe
It'll
a
be the
high jump.
jump boots from Metroid.
Maybe I'll
That's what it'll
crouch
be.
for a little while and then shine a little bit.
God, I
jump
hope
real
that's
high.
not the case.
But very good game, man, so far. I've kind of gotten to the point where the puzzles are ramping up a little bit for me. So it shifted a little bit from combat being the challenge and traversal to kind of getting some timing down. There's things kind of shifting back and forth, and in some cases there's the levels or the platforms change if you're facing left or right, which challenges you in a certain way. There's lots of really interesting things, and for me it's showing up at the exact right time in the game. I've had my fun. I've killed a bunch of enemies. I've jumped over a bunch of stuff, climbed all these things, kind of been figuring things out. And this is one of the reasons I think that I like Metroidvania games, is because they continue to surprise and delight me. It's not even close to being the same game 6 hours in as it was at 2 hours in. And it'll be a different game at 8 and 12 and 15. Like, it's just always evolving, whether it's the abilities, the enemies, the levels, all of it just continues to unravel, and it makes it immediately interesting. And one of the last things I'll maybe say on this point, Ryan, is like, we talk a lot about games and whether or not it's an appropriate criticism of games to say that they're repetitive. And it's like, that doesn't come in at all here. How can you possibly look at a game like this and go like, this is repetitive? There's nothing repetitive about it. You're, of course, melee combat, that's kind of the main piece, but you also have a bow and arrow. You got even the bow, even that is like not repetitive.
It's even how you use those abilities too is very
Totally
different from the start of the game versus towards the end. Like,
yeah,
that's the sign of a good Metroidvania is the power progression and how the game feels from the beginning versus how you feel at the end, and just like how powerful you feel versus how you feel at the start of the game.
Yep.
Like,
yep.
Those
Totally.
are signs of a good Metroidvania game. And I
a lot
definitely
of
like
agency in this. Yeah.
All signs point to this being, one of the best melee Metroidvania games out there. I mean, obviously it's too early for me to say that because I'm, not very far into it, but that's honestly my read so far. I know Seth said that in his review. Like, I know he feels that way, and I know you're enjoying it too, Ston. So, I mean, thumbs up across the board from the carpool crew on this.
Carpool for sure. Yeah. Seth said some pretty intense stuff about it being a better Metroidvania than Metroid Dread. Yeah. At least he suggested that. I kind of want to go immediately back to Metroid Dread right after this. Because the other, like, I was trying to think, like, how can you say such a thing? It almost sounds like blasphemous. And I'm not here to judge that. I mostly just kind of want to explore it a little bit. Like, what does that mean? But then also, what an interesting game to compare Prince of Persia to, which is, very basic, it's swords and as far as like weaponry and stuff. Maybe there's a little magic. But then you go to Metroid, it's like, it's in space. It's a sci-fi experience. Yeah. So the premise and the setting totally different, but like the design is very similar. Very well.
Also, Metroid Dread is also more like a sci-fi horror game too. So it's like, in a way, like I feel like comparing those is like comparing apples and oranges to someone like me. So like, I feel like they feel like very different experiences. But I kind of like. I don't know about you, Sean. This is like $1 million content idea that we haven't even brainstormed yet. But like, when I finish this game, I kind of want to do like a debate with Seth to see which game is better.
That's cool.
Like him and I can sit down. I'll represent Metroid Dread. He can represent Prince of Persia, and we can debate it out.
That'd be fascinating. That'd be so cool. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, because that's the thing. Like, not all games I think lend themselves to that sort of like analysis, really, because again, you can spend, it's like the old school reviews on IGN where they break down the scores on like presentation and graphics and sound effects, and it's like you could do the same thing with platforming and level design and abilities and power-ups and all. Like, there's so much there, and it's not, I don't know, I want to be mindful as I'm kind of layering all that together. That might sound intimidating, and it really isn't. That's the beauty of it all, is that it introduces you to this game, and you've just got what is basically a punch button, swipe your swords. You can slide around, and it's just kind of, you get to go at your own pace. If you want to explore, you just explore. And if you want to push the story forward, that's probably where you're going to get the next major ability change. That's where the game is going to kind of evolve. So this game is for people who are, fans of the genre and newcomers alike, right? This is Final Fantasy 15,
Of course it is. But also, too, it's like a return to form for Prince of Persia. And that's the most important thing to me, Sean, because I've always really enjoyed the Prince of Persia franchise, and the fact that, it's been gone for so long. Like, the last one we got was the the movie tie-in game, like the Jake Gyllenhaal one. So like,
yeah, look,
it's
went
been
away.
so long since we've had a Prince of Persia game, let alone a good one, that I am like so happy we have this, and I
Well,
hope
Return
that
to
it's more.
I'm so sorry. The return to form is like this is the first time it's ever been a Metroidvania, but it's a return to like the prestige that it
Right.
deserves.
Exactly. That's what I mean by that.
Well, and this is sort of like another like we could brainstorm about something else there. Like what other games? I don't even want to know right now, but maybe this is a question for the chat as well too. Like what other franchises need to make either a jaunt into Metroidvania or just like something else? Like I don't think there's anybody asking for Prince of Persia to go into a Metroidvania genre. You know what I
Right.
mean? And something that jumps to mind is something like a Gears Tactics. There are things like that.
Mhm.
But yeah, there's especially now with Microsoft owning so much IP, so many franchises, do something like you can be creative like this and throw some smart design and it will ignite people. There to a certain extent, that's kind of what God of War is. Like God of
It-
War 2018 is not the same as God of War. It's still an action game, but it's something else. So I'd
Mhm.
love to see that some either evolution or in this case, kind of almost not a pejorative, but a de-evolution back down to
I've already got
2D.
one for you, Sean.
Let's
And
do it.
this is actually inspired by an old mobile game that some of y'all might have played on your flip phone, your Motorola Razr back in the day.
Snake.
Doom as a role-playing game, Doom RPG.
Oh,
Bring Doom
snap.
back to the turn-based roots of its RPG thing, because back in the day, Sean, on Motorola flip phones, there was a Doom game called Doom RPG, which was a turn-based role-playing game in the Doom universe. And I would love to see something like that. Or
Nice.
so like
Doom could do whatever it wanted. Totally.
that's what I mean. Like, I think
Mhm.
like ideas like that are like really good for the industry, which is why like maybe take a game like Halo and
Yep.
try a different genre with something like that. Like bring maybe Halo becomes like a Metroid like actually like Metroid, where you know you're like a different Spartan and you get like different weapon upgrades, or maybe you get different Spartan abilities that allow you to
Mhm.
progress like through the environment better. Like I think that'd be really cool. Like I
I
think you
think
could
that
go
would
in
be
a bunch of
so
different
cool, man.
directions.
Yeah, like it's kind of ultimately like where you got World of Warcraft from.
Yeah. Or
You know,
StarCraft
like
Ghost. Late
yeah. I
rest
mean,
in
here's our
peace.
weekly mention of StarCraft Ghost, of course.
Oh no,
Yes.
we might mention it again later, Sean.
Probably. But yeah, I'm not done yet. I think I'm just under halfway through the story. Just taking my time, honestly, knowing that Seth was going to be hammering out the review, so he did a great job of that. And then also we were on Twitch twice this week, earlier this morning, and then last night.
Yeah.
Seth started from scratch. I'm still playing through. We're playing alongside each other, by the way. Both our gameplays on stream at the same time. It's what we call science around
Yeah,
here, Ryan.
of course.
And he's already passed me. We literally got to the point where we're looking at the exact same thing, and he's very good at games, and he's passed it. So it's been fun to play alongside with people. I hope people will check out the demo. Yeah, just kind of
Yeah.
neat to have such a great start to 2024.
Yeah, again, thumbs up across the board from us three. We all have the game. We all got it. Huge thanks, of course, to our friends at Ubisoft Canada for sending that over to us, and trusting us, is because we all really enjoyed this game. So definitely check out that demo.
Unless something awful happens at the end, Ubisoft. You be careful, Eves.
Also, just throwing it out there as well, because this is an Xbox show. I mean, Ubisoft Plus is a thing on Xbox.
Oh, there it is.
So,
yeah.
I mean, this is going to be in Ubisoft Plus next week. I think starting on Tuesday when early access start. Just saying, wink, wink. Like that's probably
Wink, wink.
a good way to approach it as well. But moving on, Sean, let's shift into cruise control, because originally I had a different idea for a topic this week, but this announcement kind of surprised us after last week's show, because we got the announcement of the first of the year Xbox Developer Direct. We got the first Direct of the year, and it's not from Nintendo. It's happening, Sean.
Good. Come out. This was exactly like last year, actually. And we were asking for it the year before that. So if this is a normal thing for us to expect a nice early January kind of thing, good. Like settle into it, Xbox. So I'm very happy to see this, Ryan. Let's go ahead and just hype it up beyond all expectations, all
100%.
Reasonable expectations. Let's do it.
I mean, the Goobla King's kind of egging us on to kind of do that a little bit with his
Okay,
poster.
I've got things.
But before that, I want to mention, of course, for folks that don't know or somehow missed this news, of course, the Developer Direct happens on 3 p.m. Eastern Time next Thursday, so January 18th. We will not be live streaming it. I know I'm going to be at work. I'm pretty sure you're at work at that
Probably
time
at
too,
work.
Sean.
Yeah.
So yeah, we won't be live streaming it, but our show is the next day. So we will definitely be, of course, wrapping up and talking about all the awesome announcements. So make sure to tune into next week's episode. Yes, I said tune into
I got
okay?
it. Yeah.
But Sean, I want to run down the list of the 4 confirmed games that Microsoft has come on and said we will see for sure at this developer direct, starting with Ara History Untold.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, this is like a turn-based strategy game. It looks kind of like Civilization in a lot of ways.
Okay.
This is actually a second-party game that Microsoft is publishing. But it's kind of similar situation to As Just Falls, where it's not like a first-party developer that's doing this or anything like that. I really don't know anything about this game. In fact, I forgot this game even existed until I saw that it was announced to be part of the showcase. But apparently they announced it a while ago. So
look, man, that's actually exactly maybe why it should be there, because neither of us
100%.
know anything about it, and they can. I mean, I'm not buying any games this year, but if it's coming in Game Pass, I get to play it. You know,
I mean,
so we'll maybe check it out.
They've already confirmed it's in Game Pass, so they've already got you halfway there, Sean.
I like it. I like it.
Next up, we got Senua's Sacrifice Hellblade 2. I mean, duh. Of course, it's going to be here. We just saw it at the Game Awards not too long ago, and we're going to see it again. Maybe there will be a date this time, Sean. Do you think there will be a date this time for Hellblade? And like,
is that all that's left? Date? Is that all that's left about that we want to know about Hellblade? Is just like when maybe this is the shadow drop, Ryan. We'll just.
I mean,
wait,
the last time we saw it was a gameplay showcase. I don't know if they need to show me more gameplay.
That's what I mean. And it sounds, like, I mean, it'll be there. Maybe we'll get a date. I don't know if there's anything any more interesting to explore about.
Like,
and that sucks, dude. Like, it's such a huge game. There should be something else that I'm wondering.
But that doesn't suck. That just means like I'm just ready to play this game already. Like,
I guess.
Just give me this game.
I guess. Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah. Like I would be like very bewildered if they don't announce the date here. Like, it would be weird to me if there was no date. It was still just 2024. So that's what they announced this time, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
Yeah.
Next up, Indiana Jones is getting its gameplay debut from Machine Games. We're finally going to see what this game looks like. I don't know if we're going to find out when this one comes out, because I think this reminds me of Fable last year during the showcase, where like we got the trailer for Fable, but like there was no release date on it.
That's a great call. It could be exactly like that. Just
I think that's
tone.
exactly what's going to happen here.
That's a great call.
We got the gameplay trailer for Fables. We got to see a snippet of what the gameplay looked like, but it was just no date. I'm assuming the same with this, because I don't think I see people saying like, is Indiana Jones coming out this year? I'm like, I don't think this game's coming out this year. What do you think, Sean?
No, I'm with you. For whatever reason, the image was there an Indiana Jones game on 64? Is that what I'm picturing in my mind?
In fact, Sean, fun fact about that game, in North America, that game was exclusive to Blockbuster Video.
Hell
you
yeah.
could only get that game at Blockbuster Video. You couldn't buy it. You had to rent it.
Oh, what a world. That's
and if
amazing.
you wanted to own a copy, you had to wait for a Blockbuster to go out of business and then buy it. It was one of 2 games that was like that, because Beast Wars Transmetals for the N64 was also like that too.
Well, and that's a remarkable set of trivia there. So listeners, that's pretty great. The reason I say that is because as you're talking about this, I'm literally picturing in my head like an Aaron Greenberg or someone going like, we're really excited to tell you about and show you Indiana Jones. We know you've been waiting a long time. Maybe it's Todd Howard for some reason coming out. Like, it wouldn't be him. And then it's an N64 clip. It makes no sense. It's just how broken my brain is, Ryan. But the reason I bring it up, maybe to bring it back to reality here, is, this is a cool moment for them to be able to show what does a modern day Indiana Jones game look like? What is it? Am I about to have my eyes bleed out of my face? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I've been wanting that for a long time. I'm not that interested in Indiana Jones as a franchise, but there could be still something here. I'm not totally closed-minded to playing this game or for it to blow me away, but there's got to be something with that whip. There's got to be some sort of like, hook shot kind of activity here that could be cool, or it looks great. So I don't know. Maybe I'm kind of talking myself up here a little bit to be hyped up by Indiana Jones, because for the most part, I've been kind of arms crossed, who gives a crap about this? But maybe there's something here for them to show us.
It's probably pretty easy to feel that way, Sean, because I don't know if you know the history of Indiana Jones video games. He has not had a lot of good video games.
I don't think that's definitely part of it.
The last one, the last Indiana Jones game we got was in 2009's Indiana Jones and the Staff of Kings on the Wii, which I remember Victor Lucas famously giving a 2 out of 10 on reviews on the run, because that was like one of the worst games that released on the Wii that year. But I mean, admittedly, there have been some good Indiana Jones games. One of the best is on the Super Nintendo, which is Indiana Jones Greatest Adventures. It's kind of like Super Star Wars, but they do the same thing, but with the Indiana Jones trilogy, and it's pretty fun 2D platformer. And then there were a couple fun Indiana Jones like point and click adventure games on the PC as well. Like those are like the good Indiana Jones game, but like Temple of Doom or Last Crusade, like, oh my God, those games are terrible. So like, I really want to see what a good Indiana Jones game looks like. And I hope it's awesome. I know a lot of people are maybe expecting this to be first person since it's Machine Games, but like part of me feels like it's going to be a third person game and it's going to be like Uncharted or Tomb Raider. Like, I feel like maybe that's the direction they go in with this one, which I almost want to see.
That's what I'm picturing. I am picturing a third person thing, but at the same time, maybe maybe it should be a first person game. Maybe that's the thing that would kind of surprise us and make it kind of interesting. You know, Tyler in the chat here asking, where's Wolfenstein 3? Obviously, Machine Games working on this instead, but like, Wolfenstein is one of those really interesting examples, especially juxtaposed against Doom, where those games have similar histories, you know, very sort of by today's standards, basic first-person shooting, but they took those games into two totally different directions. So I'm fascinated to see what Machine Games does with a known quantity of Indiana Jones, and maybe there's something surprising that they can do here. So like, just a world-class studio working on this. So there are reasons to be excited. It's the overarching Indiana Jones has never really done it for me kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the history of the games, of course, but there is something here, you know, the studio is special. So I'm keen, as they would say, to check this out.
I'm in tell me more mode.
Tell me more.
That's what I want to know.
Would you like to know more?
You know, Martin from that Simpsons episode where he's playing that arcade game. That's kind of like the Telltale video game where like on the joystick, one of the modes is tell me more. And he's like, tell me more. And he just pushes it forward.
I was thinking Starship Troopers, but okay. Yeah.
That's a good one too.
Yep.
Would you like to know more? Next up, Avowed is getting shown off here, Sean. Ooh. So is the possibility of Ryan Turford's prediction about a certain release date possibly going to come through here? I don't know, but we're going to find out.
It's possible. The thing that I'm mostly interested in here, like this I think is a moment to sell me on the game, or I could be missed completely. Cause like they kind of, I don't think you and I are on the same page on this game. The last that they showed it to me, like it was a little too glowy for my takes, if that makes any sense. And I'm not sure I was all about the art style here.
Okay.
But again, the game, the game design could be amazing and the world could be really fun. And I don't need my RPGs to be 6,000 years long. So I'm not completely gone, but the last I saw this, I wasn't left like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to play this game. So I'm still on a journey with it, Ryan.
Yeah, you're definitely very different from me and Garrett, because I know on RPG Cave we talked about it, where both him and I are very excited about this game. Yeah. We love Obsidian and, you know, Elder Scrolls styles games. So like, yes, I'm just excited to see more. But you're right, like I wasn't in love with the art style either. So I'm interested to see if it's going to look similar, if it's going to really wow us. But either way, this game is coming out very soon. I think like I think between this and Senua's Saga, like those are the two games we're 100% getting release dates for. I think this time.
That'd be cool. Yeah, that'd be good. Would that be enough
if we didn't,
like an A+ kind of director or a developer's direct?
Well, I think so, but I know we're obviously not getting just those 4 games. I think obviously there's going to be more. So, of course, next up, we also know there's the next Elder Scrolls Online expansion. They're having a whole showcase for it and the announcement after the partner showcase. Smart. But I wanted to mention it here because it is technically part of the festivities. But that's it. Those are the 5 games we know about. But if you remember the showcase last year, Sean, it was a lot more than 5 games. It was like 20 or 30 games. And, you know, that's when we got the shadow drop of Hi-Fi Rush.
Yep.
That's when we got to see a lot of Japanese games coming to Xbox as well. Like I feel like there's a lot of space here for a lot of interesting stuff. Like I think there's going to be a lot of third-party stuff here. We already know that Microsoft also confirmed that there will be no Activision Blizzard games here at all.
Yeah, makes sense.
Anyway,
good. Leave that for later, man.
Yeah. They said later this year.
Mm-hmm.
So perfect. Yep. Yeah. So it's now time for us to start guessing. First of all, the Goobla King asked us the question, give me your most far-fetched prediction for a shadow drop next week during the direct. I mean, is it more far-fetched than your prediction from last week of the shadow drop, Sean? Because you already predicted one that's pretty far-fetched.
Shadow drop, really? Did I?
Yeah, StarCraft 64. Do you not remember this?
Oh yeah.
StarCraft
did I really say it was going to be a shadow drop? That's
yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
It was like last week. Oh my god.
StarCraft 64.
Yeah, that would be great. But you just said that there's no Activision Blizzard King stuff, so
that doesn't matter. There can be shadow drops without them, Sean.
I suppose they could just totally pull a fast one on us. Maybe to even buy myself some time to think about this. I'm not sure about the shadow drop, Ryan. I feel like you really have to save that for something like StarCraft 64. I think Metroid Prime Remastered last year was, we could probably like offer an award each year for best shadow drop of the year. That might have been the best shadow drop in years, actually. I'd love for people to challenge me on that one, but it got me big time. I just don't know about Hi-Fi Rush with the shadow drop. I'm really not sure. It's obviously there's a parallel universe out there where they didn't, and they let up with 6 months of hype and promo and whatever else. So I'm not sure if I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm not even sure if I want a shadow drop unless it's like like Banjo-Kazooie maybe is my answer. Like they've been working on a Banjo game this whole time, something crazy. And that's not even just for me. I feel like it's much more for other people out there. Just something that's in the depth, something, I don't know, like a Rare Replay 2 or something crazy like that, I don't know if any of these are realistic, but Goobla King kind of, opened it up to craziness out here.
Goobla King said far-fetched. So, I mean, you're going in the far-fetched direction, Sean. I mean, I actually kind of agree with you. I think it depends on the game with the shadow drop more than anything. Because I think like Hi-Fi Rush, when you think about that game itself, you would want that game to appeal to more people. But like, that's the type of game that feels like a very niche game to begin with anyways. Like it feels like a certain audience is going to play that game because it's a rhythm-based game. It's got anime visuals. That's not going to appeal to the masses. That's going to appeal to like a certain group of people. And I think that certain group of people were the people that played Hi-Fi Rush when that shadow drop happened. So I definitely think it got the people that it was going to get. It just might not have been the right game. Whereas Metroid Prime Remastered, it's a first-person shooter with a classic character that a lot of people know from Smash. So I feel like that move makes more sense, especially since it's a remastering of a game and not like a brand new franchise.
Viva Pinata 1 and 2 remastered collection. It's shadow drop today. That's my answer. Yeah.
I think that's the approach you take with the shadow drop. It's like a collection or a re-release or something like that. Like I think that makes more sense for a shadow drop.
Totally.
More than
I would want that.
Or like a big multiplayer game. I think is another good shadow drop too. Like some big multiplayer game that we can play right after the show is another.
Unreal Tournament.
Yeah. Unreal Tournament. Or maybe that Palia game, the Pokemon with guns game. Maybe
Power World comes out next week, dude. I'm stoked.
Yeah. Maybe they were waiting for that to be like the shadow drop. Like what if like maybe something like that would be like a good shadow drop. So like that's my thought process. But you never know. You might see some third party shadow drops. Well, speaking of third parties, Sean, I feel like the rest of the showcase, again, is going to be third parties on Xbox. Although I think we also get the announcement that Hi-Fi Rush is coming to other consoles at this showcase as well. We just saw Hi-Fi Rush just appear on the ratings board over in Korea. So and then in North America, it also got rated. So like that's definitely happening. So I imagine we get that announcement here. But other than that, I think we're going to see a lot more Japanese developers. In fact, I'm going to just throw this on the record right now. I think Square Enix has 2 announcements at this showcase. I think they show up twice because I think they want to flaunt their partnership with Xbox, and I think this is the perfect place to do that. So I think we get the trailer and release date for Octopath Traveler 2 on Xbox because we got that announced last year. We know it's coming this year, but we don't know when.
Coming to Game Pass.
I think they tell us that, and then I think Final Fantasy 14 actually gets a trailer here, where they announce
that'd be pretty huge.
They announced the Xbox release date. I think that's what they'll do. Because like we just had Final Fantasy 14 Fan Fest next week, Sean, and they were like, yeah, so it's coming to Xbox in February, but we can't really tell you when yet.
Yeah.
So I think they're saving that date for the showcase. So
that makes sense. Yeah. That totally tracks. I think as far as Hi-Fi Rush goes, I don't think that they do that at Xbox. I actually think that'll be on the February Nintendo Direct that always happens.
Okay, maybe. Yeah.
I think Xbox kind of shows up there in a weird kind of way. And maybe it's the Sea of Thieves things too that people are talking about.
Yeah. I only pointed out Hi-Fi Rush because it's been rated by ESRB.
Of course.
ESRB doesn't rate Fate games. So
no, that's that thing is that's a definite thing. And I'm not burning down the planet because of that. It's not a big deal. Go play Hi-Fi Rush on whatever system. I don't care.
Exactly. We want people to play these games
because
they're good.
Because they're good.
Yeah. Just like I would like other players to play Spider-Man 2 as well. I feel like that'd be good too. Yep. But other than that, I also think we're going to see Atlas again here with more stuff. Maybe a Persona 3 trailer, although that's going to be out like in a couple weeks from now, which, oh my God, it's out in a couple weeks, John. I can't wait. And I don't know what else we see from Atlas. Maybe another Atlas game getting announced. Maybe a Unicorn Overlord trailer, Sean. Imagine the power of Unicorn Overlord taking over the Xbox showcase. I think Capcom will be here with something. Maybe a Monster Hunter trailer. Maybe something else. But I think Capcom maybe brings something. Maybe Dragon's Dogma 2.
I think you're probably right about and I'm very curious if there are people out there who would get blown away by this, but I feel like this is not a slight against you and what you're saying. I think you're probably right. It just seems like the same kind of like, all right, there's our Monster Hunter and there's our other blah, blah,
That's
blah.
why I'm hoping it's not that. Like you could hear like the disdain in my voice and as I'm saying it, like I hope it's something different because we've seen these games a lot. Like we've seen Dragon's Dogma a lot. I don't need to see anything else from that game. Well, I want Capcom to talk about other stuff.
It loops back to what we launched this conversation with as well, which is we know that there will be we don't know, but we assume that there's going to be a Nintendo Direct in February. There's a rumor about a state of play coming up eventually here as well. Yeah. Xbox has this opportunity to go like, this is what 2024 is all about. And depending on the week and how much energy I have, like sometimes I'm just like, oh, they're not going to have anything for us this year. And sometimes I'm just like, blow me away, Phil Spencer. Happy belated birthday, by the way. But like, come show us what Xbox has got for us this year. And maybe a lot of that is still waiting for the ABK stuff to be able to come to life. That may be the card that they're waiting to play. But I'm kind of like, don't care about that. I kind of still want a direct to kick off the year and just tell me why Xbox is going to be an exciting thing to talk about and play on this year. So give me a bunch of stuff coming into Game Pass. Surprise me with something I never saw coming because it seems like we know everything. And honestly, I'd even be kind of elated to see something from the leak show up for some, even if it's a controller, for God's sakes.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. In fact, Game Pass, I didn't mention it, but I think we're definitely going to get some Game Pass drops here, which will be exciting as well. So maybe I hope we actually get like we talked about it before during our predictions, but like I hope we get like a big game that comes to Game Pass. Like,
yes.
What if like Tekken 8, which comes out next week, what if that just launched in Game Pass?
That'd be cool. That'd be great.
Yeah, like something like that. How cool would that be?
Well, two of my predictions were about Forza and Starfield, and we got a couple of updates as well this week. Daytona, something about Daytona. I think there's a Daytona track coming to Forza Motorsport, which looks really cool. There was a release about some details for Starfield, not nearly as big as anybody I don't think wants, or at least I don't want. So give me a big update for Starfield at the. I would love for Starfield to show up at this Direct, Ryan. I know we're looking for like what's new and everything. For me, some sort of like big drop for like this is what 2024 in Starfield is all about. That would be a very good thing as well. Even Halo. Shout out to Halo.
We also know that DLC for Starfield's coming at some point. So like
that'd be good.
Maybe they show that here. Because I think like after they add the maps, John, I think that's really what's next for Starfield is that DLC. So
this dude, they left it wide open when they said something like there's going to be a new way to travel, and it has everybody just like speculating like crazy. So who knows what they'll come up with?
Teleporters.
I mean, who knows? Yeah. So Starfield, it would be really cool to see Starfield show up here. And if it doesn't, then I might have to kickstart playing some No Man's Sky here eventually, Ryan.
Or we'll just kickstart the idea of them bringing back StarCraft 64 and just showing us that.
Hell yeah. StarCraft 64.
Yeah.
Also, I haven't heard another Xbox podcast ask for StarCraft 64. It's just us, Ryan. We did it.
Just us. You know, I want that and the Lord of the Rings Return of the King to come back anytime.
Oh, I want to watch that.
Oh, I mean, I'm not talking about watching the movie, Sean. We need the game, the Return of the King video game, which is really good. I want it to come back.
I know. I got you.
But anything else from the Nintendo, the Xbox Direct before we move on, Sean, to questions?
I don't think I want what I predicted.
Yeah. All I know is I'm excited for it. I'm excited for them to kind of tee off the year, tell us what's coming up in the next 6 months or so, and I just want to see stuff to be excited
surprise
about.
Me. Yeah, just surprise me. Like I don't want to go, oh yeah, there's that. Oh yeah, okay, Hellblade's there. Okay. Like give me something I can just kind of, I don't know. I like those moments. We don't get E3 anymore. We still want to have those like holy crap moments. Yeah.
I'm already starting to see people online creating the summoning circles for Hollow Knight Silk Song already, which happens at literally every showcase Under the Sun now. I don't know if we'll see that game here, but that doesn't matter because we don't care about Hollow Knight here. So there you
almost want to go through. Remember that it would have been at around the E3 time where they're like, this is the next 12 months of Xbox. And it wasn't. It was like the next 18 months or so. Like, I wonder if there's any games still left. Like Hollow Knight was on that one.
It was.
I wonder if there's anything else that hasn't been revealed or released yet since then.
Not off the top of my head, but there probably is something that still on there. But Hollow Knight's definitely the outlier at this point.
Yeah.
But, all right, Sean, let's let some of our friends into the car with us. It is time for the carpool. We're going to start with Eric Cave over on YouTube, who asked the following, and this is a long statement. Let's start with this. So Eric says, look at me listening and watching through YouTube's music podcast feature. I'm not sure if you have it set up or they did, but I am grateful. It would still be helpful to have some chapters or timestamps, especially with long episodes like this one. Hearing you talk about your purchases, backlogs, and whiteboards got me thinking about games I started enjoying at the time that I had, but I never intended to go back and finish the campaign. Some examples for me are Ghost Recon Wildlands, Prey, and Diablo 4. I would love to hear your thoughts and personal examples on being content to finish a game you enjoyed for a little while. So, I mean, first of all, before we get into that, Sean, I just want to bring up Eric's comment about timestamps and chapters. We actually did used to do that on the show, full transparency, but it did kind of become a little bit too much work. But I think that's something we can discuss as a team down the road. So I want you to be to be aware, Eric, that that's something we're going to talk about behind the scenes.
After February 5th, after Fantasy Critic, after a few other things that kind of just kind of going on, which is
it's on the list of things to talk about. So just keep in mind there is traction on it. This is not the first time we've heard this comment. So I want to make sure you're acknowledged.
And I appreciate he says it too. Like, tell us what we're missing. Like, it's good for us to know. Can't address every single one and activate everyone, but it's always good. I want to know those things. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But then going back to his actual question, as far as examples of games that, you enjoyed, but you never really intended to finish the campaign. I'm trying to think if there's an example for me with this one. Cause like, I always like to finish the games that I start, but then there's a bunch of games I talked about on last week's show that I don't know if I'm going to go back to, but I think like, it's not that I made the logical choice to not finish it. It's usually just because, I put the game down and I never went back to it. So it's not like a choice that I made to do that. Sometimes that just happens.
Yeah.
So, like Armored Core, for example, Sean, like I enjoyed my time with Armored Core, but like, I don't know when I'm going back to play that game again. And especially with the RPG, like smorgasbord that's about to happen in the next 3 months, like it might be a while before I go back to Armored Core at this point. So I don't know when that happens. And that may be one that, that's definitely the most recent example of one I can think of that kind of fits in this mold. But what about you, Sean?
Now, how much time do we have for this question, Ryan? This is my entire life. Elden Ring is a great example for this question. Just a wonderful, great quality game. I'm not saying anything the internet hasn't already heard. Just like a really good game. I just didn't spend enough time with. Shout out to Death's Door. Also, very, very good game. Didn't finish it. No real good reason for me not finishing it. Cult of the Lamb. Also, Very, very good. I could continue on, but I feel like you just grabbed something from your shelf.
I sure did. One
yeah.
that I feel like fits perfectly for you, Sean, with this question. The Last Story.
I finished enough of that game, and it was, dude,
Yeah,
I'm on the last boss.
No, but I mean, it fits with Eric's question because you got to a certain point and you knew you weren't going to finish it, so you put it down.
Oh, I suppose. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, maybe I was answering the question wrong. I just want to get back to these things. But so the question is if I played a bunch of the game and specifically put it down because I stopped enjoying it?
I mean, that's just my read on the situation. But I don't know. Interpret it how you will, Sean.
I mean, yeah, it could be any game, like really.
It could be anything.
I mean, it could be anything.
It could be a copy of The Last Story now available on the Wii in this cool case that looks like a book.
Okay, you know a good answer for this one actually then, if I'm playing a bunch of the game, put a bunch of hours into it and decide this one just isn't for me, and this one breaks my heart actually because I was excited about this one, was Minecraft Legends.
Okay. Yeah.
I thought I was going to love that game and not so much. I put a bunch of time into it and nah.
That Minecraft Legends was certainly a game.
Oh, the other one too, as I'm scrolling through my list of achievements here, was Dragon Quest Builders 2. I loved the first like 20 hours or something like that. And then it's like, all right, all your progress is wiped. You're going to go to another island or something else and start over. I'm like, what? I haven't gone back to it since then.
They did the thing. They just were like, well, yeah, everything you just did was great and all, but like you did that for nothing. You did that
totally, just completely. That's like a sin in video games to me. Just don't make me feel like I wasted my time. Mm-hmm. So
for sure. Also, shout out to I Can't See, who of course just joined us, who mentioned they're hooked on the Prince of Persia demo, which is awesome to see. We talked about that earlier in the show. We really enjoyed that a lot.
For sure. Nice. Thank you, Eric K, for being our resident YouTube commenter, though.
100%.
Always here supporting us on YouTube. So thank you, Eric K. We see you, my
friend. And again, the YouTube podcast app is pretty cool. We actually, it was very easy. We really didn't have to do anything to port all of our podcasts over there. It's literally a checkbox on YouTube, and it does.
Thank God.
Which is easy. So next up, we got ScheiGuy, who asked the question, Sean. Thank you, ScheiGuy. In the spirit of what are colors, I ask, what are questions?
Oh my gosh, dude. So for those who don't know, sometimes I like to spiral about like the fabric of reality. So I was wondering about colors because Ryan, there's all these different wavelengths of light, and some we can see and some we can't see. And the fact that like colors, what you see is like the rebound of light and every other color is absorbed except for the one that bounces into your pupils, into your, like, what is that, Ryan? I spiral a little bit. I think I'm right to spiral about that. And if people aren't wondering about colors, you need to really seriously think about colors, Ryan. So what are questions, Ryan?
Who knows? It might be a series of inquiries. It might be, a list of things. I don't know.
It's about
oh my God. Did I almost swear? I got halfway there. Look, this is Xbox Drive After Dark. Okay. Sometimes it just comes out.
I was not expecting that.
The best part is the audio listeners won't even hear that because I've marked down the time code and that'll
just
be
click it out.
Of the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Look,
it's language. It's the core of language. It's seeking knowledge. That's the core of the question. But the fascinating thing about questions is just like it would be a statement if you just put the verb and the predicate and the noun in different places. You just like put the thing before the other thing, and now it becomes a question instead of a statement. That's weird. In some languages, you got the question mark upside down at the start of the sentence and then right side up at the end of the sentence. So shout out to the Spanish because that's how you're supposed to do it. I'd love for that to be in English, dude. That'd be great. At the start, it's going to be a question. You have to wait to the end. That's strange. Don't you think that's weird? Is this sufficiently satisfying the question's kind of intent, you think?
I feel so because I'm already at like peak groaning mode at this point, Sean, because of this. And I'm just like, yep, that's a thing.
Yeah, I could keep going. I'm not gonna lie. I could keep going with this.
Next question comes to us from Rod, aka Anti-Macro, who of course asked this question knowing your weather, Sean.
Yes.
How cold is too cold to play video games?
Oh,
and
man.
Let me tell you what, Sean, I have a story about this because back in my old apartment at Yonge and Eglinton here in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, the one of the four walls in my apartment, in fact, of course, being the wall that was on the outside of the apartment where, the windows are, The wall was not made of drywall or anything thick. It was made of aluminum steel, like metal, essentially.
Yeah.
So it was a very good conductor for the cold, and it made my apartment, even with the heating cranked up, very cold, to the point where my computer or my console would usually be close to that wall during the winter, and I would have to move them to the other side of my apartment because it was too cold to play the video games there, because of how much cold the walls absorbed, to the point where my Xbox would turn on and immediately turn off because it was too cold. So that was the thing. So how cold is it to play? How cold is too cold to play video games? Well, when you have when you have an apartment that is not properly, shielded against the cold, and you live in Canada, that just happens, man.
Pretty much. I mean, you can fire up your Series X in these temperatures, and the fan just goes, "I'm good."
Yeah, exactly.
You
Well, I
don't
mean,
need
that's
me.
if the fan even starts, because it might just be frozen on the inside of it.
Yep.
You just have to go in there and, like, with like an ice pick and get the ice off of it.
Damn.
But I know it's too much.
We got to install block heaters on our consoles.
Exactly. Well, next up we got Tony Baker, who asked the question.
Tony Baker.
Today is Phil Spencer's birthday. If you were gonna get him a birthday gift, what would it be? And don't say an Xbox toaster. I mean, I kind of want to say an Xbox toaster. I mean, this also is just like, do we need to get Phil another gift, Sean? We just got him a gift for Christmas, because we just got him a gift like 3 episodes ago. With like, this is a question we had before. We're like, I got him, like, because remember we had like a Christmas gift basket we had to build for Phil.
Oh yeah. Oh right. The basket.
Because like we had to give him like a vinyl record and stuff.
Yes,
yeah.
Of course. Yes, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Which I tend to do. Ryan, as children grow to being adults, sometimes you don't even want gifts anymore. You just want time. I'd love to get Phil for his birthday just a day off. Take a break, buddy. Just sleep. Stay in and just don't do anything for a little bit. I feel like that would be nice for him. Maybe a visit to the chiropractor or some massage. Maybe just treat yourself.
Just a good
pedicure, spa day. Spa day for Phil. He gets a spa day, definitely.
Yeah. I like that idea, Sean. In fact, I'm going to co-opt it and say the only other thing I'll give him on top of the spa day would be a little keychain to commemorate the launch of the most impressive Xbox device ever, the Xbox Series S toaster. So a keychain with a little Xbox Series S toaster with toast popping out of it on the bottom of the keychain. I feel like he'd really appreciate that too.
I shouldn't let you know that the toaster is such an ire for me. I shouldn't respond.
Please, I would have been talking about this much even without it. Remember when we got the announcement of the fridge? We talked about that dang fridge for like 2 months.
I feel like Xbox was in a different place then. And that was not that long ago, but like things were kind of happening. Things were bopping and popping and slopping. It was pretty fun to be in Xbox land. And now it's like, don't waste any more time. Get maps into Starfield. Stop making toasters. Give me some Hellblade. Give me Viva Pinata remastered and shadow drop it into my lap. Give me StarCraft 64. I don't care, dude. Like, I'm just
StarCraft 64.
Give me something, not a toaster.
I mean, it's going to be worse, Sean, because I won't be talking about, like, when I finally get off talking about the toaster and I stop talking about it, it'll be just in time for Persona to come out, and then you'll never hear the end of it instead.
Sounds good. Persona. That sounds way better, dude. Talk to me about Persona. I'm not against that. That sounds great. You can talk. They could put Magic the Gathering into Game Pass for some weird reason, and like I'll listen to that.
That's a brilliant idea, Sean. Maybe they'll do that.
That would be great.
They've done it before, because actually we had those backwards compatible Xbox 360 Magic the Gathering games, and they were in Game Pass at one point. So, I mean, Magic the Gathering has been in Game Pass before. So, but moving on. We've got Miles_of_Amanda, who asked the question, because it's been a while, when is Halo going to be as affordable as Fortnite?
Dude, we were playing Halo a while back on the Twitch channel, and, people are like, oh, I don't have this game. And we kept saying, like, it's free. And, like, as if that wasn't landing with people, it's like, it's as free as Fortnite. It's as affordable as Fortnite. And I think people forget that. Even still, Ryan, that Halo multiplayer, Halo Infinite multiplayer is free. You don't need game. It's not like quote unquote free with Game Pass, like asterisk, that it's free. It's as free as Fortnite is. And that, just put it on the box, Phil. There's your other birthday present is a free marketing pitch. for friggin' Halo. It's as free as Fortnite. It's not weird special like sign up for 7 days or anything crazy like that. So just a reminder for anybody listening to an Xbox podcast who was unaware, Halo's free to play the multiplayer.
Just go play it. Just press that install button and just go play it.
Oh my gosh.
Go play
And
the
it's fun.
game.
It's really good. Yes. I Can't See brings up the Series S waffle iron. I only mention that to say play Halo, go into Forge mode, and play at the Waffle House level because that is super fun. That's great.
While also cooking waffles on your Series S waffle iron. I like this idea. It's great.
No, I was getting off of the waffle iron and getting into the Waffle House. That's great.
Speaking of the Waffle House segue.
Nice.
Sean, we got Nagachaka who asked the question. I forgot to ask this on last week's show, but what are your thoughts on the Forza Horizon tutorial? I played it for the first time with Fulia and Savoy Prime a few weeks ago, and I hated it. Gas means go and brake means stop. What else do I need to know about this racing game? Sean, I don't think I've ever played the Forza Horizon 5 tutorial.
Same.
Because it lets you skip the tutorial. So I don't even know what he's even talking about here.
I didn't know that. Dude, me neither. I wonder if they may have added that after, or I don't know. I feel like I don't recall this.
It was never mandatory. Like I remember during the review period when we played the game, like it was like, do you want to play the tutorial? I'm like, no, because I've played a Forza game before. I don't need to play the tutorial.
Yeah, you really don't. And maybe that's the point here. Yeah. Maybe there's something with Forza Motorsport that gets obviously a little bit more involved there. But there's certain like kind of elements of physics that could be involved that you might want to know, just little tricks and tips and tricks here. You know, like you're not really going to accelerate while you're skidding through a turn, kind of a thing. Like those are things to keep in mind. You know, you should be accelerating and braking when in a straight line, and if you're turning, you kind of have to pick and choose your spots. You got to get that apex of a turn. Like there's definitely some technical elements to driving that I'm already reaching the extremes of my knowledge.
Like this is Forza Horizon's tutorial.
I know, but
so it's like even more arcadey than what you're describing.
Totally. Yeah. Like it's still turn 10 physics there, which is great, but playground kind of just open world. But yeah, it's not as damning if you're not nailing those the hairpin turns and things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe that's the point. Who cares about the tutorial? It's silly.
Yeah. I'm actually not sure. Like I said, I honestly don't know what the tutorial looks like, but that seems weird to me that it would indicate that the gas button means go and the brake means stop. Because like
maybe it's a joke.
It's like duh, of course you know that.
Yeah.
But also it's just like now that I say that out loud, I'm like, well, wait a second. I remember back to other video games where it's like press the A button to jump. And it's like, well, of course I know that. Like, it seems obvious to me. So
yeah,
maybe that is a thing. But
I'm glad they're playing that game, dude. That game is great.
Yeah.
Forza Horizon 5 is awesome. I hope they had a fun time.
It's got cars. It's got pinatas.
It's got cars.
Yep. Last question of the week, Sean, and I'm just gonna shake my head at this question, Cwagmire. This comes to us from Quaggy, who says, now that Hideki Kamiya is moving on from Platinum Games, will Microsoft work with his new studio to finally bring us the spiritual successor to Scalebound? No.
Yeah.
This is never happening. Scalebound is dead. It's never coming back. And it shouldn't. At least that's just how I feel about it. I don't like Scalebound. So
here's the thing, man. The Scalebound is apparently it's just not going to ever go away. We'll talk about it once a year at the very least, and just continue to keep its memory alive. It highlights for me something that has troubled me for many, many years, and it probably will trouble me until Xbox stops being Xbox. In that, Xbox fans in general, we don't do a good job celebrating what's on Xbox. And when Scalebound was being propped around, I didn't hear positivity about it. If there was, it was very quiet, few and far between. People did not like Scalebound.
Especially that gameplay demonstration. They had like that E3 gameplay demonstration of that, and people were just like, what the heck is this game? Like, it looks terrible.
Yeah,
and maybe that being the big discourse that year.
Yep. Yeah, so and then we change our minds when it gets taken from us. So I don't know, dude. I'm very interested to see where they go. I hope to hell it's not Scalebound. I hope that it's something really fascinating and interesting. And maybe there was something we found about Scalebound, but what we saw didn't interest me. It didn't interest a lot of people. But yeah, I think maybe the heart of the question is, what are they up to? What are they doing over there?
For sure. I like Kamiya-san's games, so I'm actually really excited to see what he does next. But like, Scalebound is not it. Like I hope that that's not the concept they go to, that they do something different. But
Yeah.
we'll see.
Man,
We'll find out.
there's stuff. I mean, we get a direct next week. We'll see what Xbox has in store for us. The first game you mentioned that we're gonna see at the direct is kind of like a Civilization game. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like I just want Xbox to lean in hard on some genre. Like, I'm struggling off the top of my head. Maybe racing is maybe it, but there's still a Gran Turismo over there. It's just like, what genre are you just crushing right now?
Well, that's
Just
what they used to do. Like that's what they were known for, was first person shooters. They were the first person, or they were the shooter like console for the longest time.
I guess I want to take it one step further and go like, what sort of non-mainstream genre can people just completely geek out about? You know, and like, oh, it's here. I feel like that's like Nintendo's family, if you want to say that, and Sony's got their narrative, action, adventure. And for Xbox, it would be great to have real-time strategies in PC Game Pass and things like that. Just really dorky. Just let us nerd out completely in Xbox land, you know?
Yeah. The closest thing we have to that, which is actually something Garrett and I discussed on RPG Cave, is Western RPGs. Xbox is currently the biggest manufacturer of Western RPGs in the world.
Yeah, that's true.
Like they have like the market cornered on Western role-playing games. Like that's like, when I think of Xbox now, that's what I think of, is Western role-playing games.
I mean, yeah, people, we should, I don't want to repeat that podcast, so people should definitely check that out. The thing that I just feel like shatters that notion in a single exception for sure is 2023's Baldur's Gate, which is not Xbox at all and almost didn't even make it onto Xbox. And it's like, yeah, if a lot of that is coming from the Bethesda umbrella, it's like, we'll see.
Yep. We'll find out.
We'll see. We'll find out. Yeah. So I'd like for that to be a thing. And yeah, like make it a role-playing thing where people can just come to Xbox to completely geek out. But that's kind of what I want. Just what are people being total dorks about in Xbox land?
Yeah.
And I think there's just a lot of casual stuff. And I'm not trying to say people who are casual gamers. That's not what I'm saying at all. I just want people to go heavy in the paint. They want to go hard in the paint for like this thing, you know? And I don't know what that is right now.
Yeah, because you're right. Because when you think about like what Xbox's identity is now, well, Game Pass is it, but like what else?
Yeah,
what else is Xbox?
It's got to be something. Yep.
Xbox's identity is soon to become StarCraft 64.
There it is. Give it to me. Yeah. Strategy games. Who can like? I don't care if it's
games
what
and
I
toasters.
like.
What else do you need?
I don't do the simulator thing. Like, what if it's a simulator games? I don't know, man. Like, just pick something and just go heavy with it. So
pick a lane.
Yep. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Maybe that's the total antithesis of what they want to do.
Sean, what if Microsoft chose Metroidvanias? How cool would that be?
There you go. Yeah, pick it. Something.
Yeah.
We'll find out next week, maybe.
Absolutely. But anyway, Sean, that's gonna do it.
That's enough
for tonight's episode of the Xbox Drive. But before we go, Sean, plugs go.
You can find me playing video games on our Twitch channel at twitch.tv/carpoolgaming live. You can find me on Xbox Live at Sean Capri, as well as on X at Sean Capri, Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants. Join the dozens, almost 100 members over at patreon.com/carpoolgaming. Thanks everybody for joining us there. And I feel like there was something else that's happening. Oh, Fantasy Critic. Yes, soon. Please. Join us on Discord. The Discord is almost on a daily basis, welcoming someone new into the community, and everybody's been awesome. So jump in there, join Fantasy Critic. It's going to be, I don't want to give away details, but there's 30 people. The more details are coming, but very, very soon, probably within the next 10 days or so, you guys are going to want to know stuff. So there you go.
Which is good, because we got to get it that out in the wild before February hits, I think, at this point. But
that's right.
As for me, you can find me on the old X at Ryan Turford. You can find us over there at Carpool Gaming, right here, youtube.com/Carpool Gaming, and of course, podcast services around the globe. So for Sean Capri, I'm Ryan Turford. This has been episode 322 of the Xbox Drive, and we out.
Why am I trying to think of the 3? Oh, 343. That's still a couple of months away. Okay, we'll see you guys next week. Okay, bye-bye.
No power greater than X.
Hey, Donnie and